And I will forever think it's stupid that you can use a Crobat on a playthrough team in Ruby Sapphire Emerald, but not in Fire Red Leaf Green. Ah! I'm enraged!
I don't understand what he's saying. I like your words, funny man. Oh, God. The only Pokemon game I've ever played was Pokemon Colosseum. This is really going to put my Pokemon knowledge to the test. What's the yellow rat called again? Donatello? Hi. My name is Master Sky and welcome to Why Catching These Pokemon Was Almost Impossible. A video by a video by this person. Okay, I'm depending on all of you to help explain things to me in the comments. Because if you don't, my brain might just melt. Everyone get comfy, grab a snack. Today, I'm turning on my last brain cell.
Generation 3 of Pokemon had 5 mainline games that took place across
I have played none of those!
Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald in Hoenn, and Fire Red and Leaf Green in Kanto.
Uh-huh.
But at the time, there was one other mainline region.
What's
Johto.
that?
This was the
what about the
Pokemon
desert region?
history that a region and its Pokemon existed, but could not be...
If you guys could ask me to do Pokemon Nuzlocke, like, of all the Pokemon games, what game would you like me to do a Nuzlocke on?
Traveled to. This mattered because of Gen 3's introduction of the National Pokédex.
Ooh,
a dex covering
Pokédex.
every Pokemon that existed at the
Oh
time,
my god!
even those that could not be caught in that specific
Whales,
game.
me no like
in later
whales.
generations, you could make quite a lot of progress toward completing a national dex.
This is such a small nitpick, but bro, why are you wearing your cap backwards? Come on, you're an adult.
Simply transferring Pokemon in from a previous generation. For example, Generation 4 included Kanto, Johto, and Sinnoh, but not
What is the
Hoenn.
Pokemon on the
So
left
you could
there?
transfer Hoenn Pokemon in from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, even though you didn't technically have to. But Gen 3 never connected to Gen 2. So your
Okay.
Johto Pokemon in Gold, Silver, and Crystal
what is Gen? Who is Gen? Help, who's Gen?
were stuck there.
Jen!
Therefore,
Jen,
to get
explain!
Johto Pokemon within Gen 3, you had to obtain them within Gen 3. And getting all of them was almost impossible.
So transferring
I went
Pokemon
through
is impossible.
every Johto Pokemon and gave them ranks of 1 through 6 based on how difficult they are to obtain. And we're gonna cover all of them, progressing from the easiest to the ones that were so difficult that I would call it cruelly ridiculous.
That
The first
sounds
and
like a
easiest
challenge.
difficulty rank is rank 1, regional dex. I was gonna call this pre-game, but I realized 1, it's really more during game, and 2, I didn't want to make it sound like these Pokemon were taking shots at their apartment before they headed out to the bars. Rank 1 Pokemon are obtainable before the Pokemon League in a handheld.
Can I just say, almost every Pokemon character is just so uniquely designed. I love it, especially this one with the darker skin and the flowers. I really like that design.
Which directly means they're in the Hoenn Regional Dex, since the Kanto Regional Dex does not have any Pokemon outside of the original 151. Including later gen evolutions, which I think is stupid, and it's pissed me off every time they've done this. Meryl can be found very early in Hoenn, and it even got a new baby form with Azurill. Zubat, Golbat, Oddish, and Gloom are found everywhere, so of course their evolutions Crobat and Blossom are present. Slugma and Skarmory are found in the areas around or inside
I know
Mount
Slugma.
Chimney. Amusing side note, I know of many people who actually thought that Slugma, Macargo, and Skarmory were Hoenn Pokemon.
Wait. Is the metal dinosaur the evolved version of the slug? Huh?
Pokemon, partially because
Explain!
major trainers used them, but more so because you really just couldn't find them in Gen 2. No major trainers used them, and then in the wild, Skarmory was only in Silver and Crystal and very rare, while Slugma was only ever found in Kanto. I will never understand why they did that. So many Johto Pokemon in the Johto games were only post-game. But back to Johto Pokemon in the Hoenn Regional Dex. Corsola, Chinchou, and Lantern are found in Hoenn's vast ocean, as is Horsey, which you can evolve all the way to King.
Really, Horsey? You could have done naming conventions.
but they do make it annoyingly tough to do since dragon scales are only found on Wild Horsey and Bagon. Igglybuff can be bred from Jigglypuff,
it's a horse.
which is found on
it's not even a horse.
15.
It's a seahorse.
The rest of the Johto
it's a
Pokemon
fish.
in the Hoenn Regional Dex are found directly or indirectly in the Safari Zone. Natu, Xatu, Wobbuffet, which is of course here because of why not.
That's Wobba, and the one after the tiny one on the left there, that one just called Ikabokum.
Girafarig, Heracross, Fanpy, and Donphan are all wild there, as is Pikachu, which is how you get Pichu.
Pikachu!
It took me way too
I
long
love
to realize
Pichu, by
that
the
the
way.
Hoenn Safari Zone is you going on a safari to Kanto and Johto. There is not a single Gen 3 Hoenn Pokemon that spawns there, and most—
This is so many diagrams. Let's just play the game. What is all of this cross RSE? Levels, right?
Safari Zone Pokemon
I
do
can't.
not
My
spawn
brain can only handle
anywhere
one thing at a
else.
time.
It's
What
a
is
wildlife
this?
preserve for exotic Pokemon that are just not exotic in other regions. I think I might have missed this because while the Kanto Safari Zone has exclusive Pokemon in it, like Scyther or Chansey, it's also packed with Pokemon that you can find elsewhere. But then the Hoenn Safari Zone is like, look, Pikachu! You can't find this anywhere else. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's Pikachu. I can find it in a lot of other places, just not in Hoenn. So those are the rank 1 Johto Pokemon, but next is rank 2. Post-game evolutions. These are Pokemon where you can get some members of their evolutionary line before the Pokemon League, but you can't get all of them until after.
So, okay. Hang on. So there are Pokemon Leagues in all of these games, like you have to fight the gym battles, and only some Pokemon are unlocked after you do the league? Is that what he's saying? I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying my best.
I hate that they did this. Being too faithful to the original games does not a good remake make. But I still think 2 is a proper rank here because you can at least make some amount of progress beforehand. First up, the Babies. Cleffa, Tyrogue, Smoochum, Elekid, and Magby can only be obtained when bred—
Smoochum. Wait, did he just say bred?
from their evolutions, which are all found in Fire Red and Leaf Green, although Electabuzz is a Fire Red exclusive and Magmar is a Leaf Green exclusive.
That Pokemon has a butt for a head. They knew what they were doing.
They locked the babies to the post-game by putting the daycare on 4 Island, a post-game only Sebi Island. There is another daycare just south of Cerulean City, but it only lets you raise 1 Pokemon at a time.
Is there like a
thus you can't do
Pokemon
any
map
breeding
that just
there.
shows all the
Next,
regions?
there are the
I would
trade
love to
with
see
item
that.
evolutions. Kingdra does apply here in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but it's still in rank 1 because it's earlier in Hoenn. Those in rank 2 are Scizor and Steelix needing the Metal Coat, Politoed and Slowking needing the King's Rock, and Porygon 2 needing the upgrade. But I should note that
Wait,
Scyther is a Fire Red
Porygon is a
exclusive
Pokemon?
and Slowpoke is a Leaf Green
I thought Porygon was like a synthesized lab thing.
exclusive. The 3 items are found only at these locations, all post-game. And the final rank 2 post-game evolution Pokemon is the weirdest, because it's a friendship evolution, which is somehow restricted to the post-game. Restricting the 2 Pokemon daycare and the evolution items makes logical sense.
What is a friendship evolution? I know this evolution, I know this mega evolution, and I know this like that sun and moon power moves thing. That's it. What is a friendship evolution?
Since you can physically put them out of reach. But friendship is not something you can restrict. You cannot destroy the human and Pokemon spirit of connection.
You can't stop our love.
And yet they did it anyways! The Pokemon's friendship will still grow throughout the game, but the evolution won't trigger until the first level up after getting the National Pokedex. This feels just so morally wrong to me. What are we teaching the children? That friendship should be conditional?
Haha!
Well, I guess technically, yes, it should be. Like, if your friend stabs you, don't be friends with them anymore. But if the conditions are just, hey, do you have the right cell phone? That's a bad lesson. Crobat as well.
Well, have you met people who use iPhones? If you use an Android, you might as well be like a monkey to
these
them.
friendship evolutions, and I will forever
And not the
think
good
it's
kind.
stupid that you can use a Crobat on a playthrough team in Ruby Sapphire Emerald, but not in Fire Red Leaf Green. all 5 being games with Zubat, and all of them in the same generation. Ugh! I'm enraged!
I don't understand what they're saying. I like your words, funny man.
Also, the last rank 2 Pokemon is Blissey. Chansey into Blissey. Chansey.
What do you mean rank 2? What? Huh?
Kanto. I should mention that there are a couple more friendship.
Why is this shit so It's a game. Why is it so complicated? Generation
Evolutions that I'm not covering yet, because there is some nonsense going on with them that pushed them higher up in the difficulty rankings.
Oh god.
It is I, Go Red Team, boy, and I have a problem.
Don't ever do that again. I will call the police.
I have no style. I love the team uniform, but it's limiting my personal expression.
I don't know.
What do I do? Well,
that hat
is
is pretty stylish.
The sponsor of today's video. Holzkern is a watch and jewelry brand for both men and women that focuses on making products built with natural materials, like
honestly, that ring I kind of vibe with.
Wood and stone. The products are made in small quantities.
I'm not one for jewelry. I have like one necklace my someone gifted to me, of which I've never taken off, and that's the only jewelry I ever wear.
To ensure ethical and responsible production, and they all come with a 2-year guarantee. Great place to buy gifts, by the way. I got my girlfriend several pieces of Holzkern jewelry last year. Oh, and since they're accessories, I can wear Holzkern products with my...
That is a killer hat, by the way, goddamn. Also, is it me or does this guy look like Connor from like C-Dog VA? You see it, right?
Uniform.
I'm not crazy.
And thus improve my style. Hell yeah, man.
Style.
Try this. It's the Melodical watch. The strap is genuine brown leather. Ooh, I love it. This has immediately amplified my style. I knew it would. I know a lot of things. Head to holzkern.com/MNJ to get 15% off the entire site by using code MJTV. Shipping is free worldwide in 5 to 9 business days. And if you're in the US, don't...
Yeah, you get that bag, man. But I just realized, man, I'm so unstylish. All I ever wear is just black.
Don't worry about tariffs. They sorted that out behind the scenes. Amazing! I will definitely be doing more shopping there. With all their great stuff, I can absolutely perfect my fashion.
Fashion!
My style.
Pew!
Ta-ta! Next is rank 3, post-game easy. The Pokemon are relatively easy to obtain, but only once you're in the post-game. Many of them are found in Fire Red and Leaf Green's Sevi Islands. Dunsparce is found in 3 Island Port. You can go to 3 Island during the main story, but the cave leading to its grass patch isn't dug out until you get the National.
I am so confused by this, because the Pokemon game I played, which was Pokemon Coliseum, they didn't have this like top-down pixelated view. It's just like actual character 3D models.
Fall Cave on 4 Island has Wooper and Delibird in Fire Red, Sneasel in Leaf Green, and Swinub in both. It also has Marill, but that's early in Hoenn. Quillfish and Remoraid are version exclusives in Fire Red and Leaf Green respectively, and both are Super Rod fished across several places on 5, 6, and 7 islands. Sentret is also found in grass across those same 3 islands. 5 Island has Hoppip all over it. Then its Lost Cave has Murkrow in Fire Red and Mischievous in Leaf Green. The Water Labyrinth is also where you get an egg for Togepi. Moving to
Can we get a Pokemon called Scanlilith?
Island, Ruin Valley has Yanma, along with Natu and Wobbuffet, who we know are earlier in Hoenn. On the island's north side, you have the Pattern Bush, which has Spinarak in Fire Red, Ladybug in Leaf Green, and then also Heracross, again earlier in Hoenn. 6 Island also has Altering Cave, a strange place with only Zubats, which is weird considering how late game it is. Turns out it was actually coded to make it so Johto Pokemon could spawn there after receiving a certain event. But none of these events ever happened, so it definitely does not count as a place where you can get any Johto Pokemon. 7 Island features Skarmory and Fanpeep, both already in Hoenn, but Seavault Canyon is the only place to get Larvitar at a frustratingly low level. Mantine can also be found in the water, but only in Leaf Green, and the Tanabe ruins at the south end
I've seen
are
a Mantine float. Is Mantine restricted to water? Is any of the Pokemon restricted to water? Because I've seen a Mantine float before, on land. And fish, land, that don't make sense.
That wraps up the Johto Pokemon in the Sevi Islands. And you may be wondering, wait, what about the others? There's definitely a lot more Johto Pokemon that would fit into post-game easy that you haven't mentioned. Where are they? And don't worry, I'm gonna tell you, but we have to answer a
What a transition!
big question first. Has Pokemon Emerald come out yet? The National Dex technically exists in Ruby and Sapphire, but it only activates by
Pokemon
trading
Emerald
with Fire
is
Red,
like
Leaf Green, or Emerald.
one of the hardest Pokemon games ever. Is that true?
Games that, of course, did not exist when Ruby and Sapphire
Pokemon Emerald and Pokemon Colosseum
first came out.
are like
Therefore, there
supposed to be
isn't
really
any messaging
difficult.
in Ruby and Sapphire about the National Pokedex. Fire Red and Leaf Green are a different story. Getting the National Pokedex is a big moment in the game and is required to keep exploring. The post-game plot focuses on unlocking the ability to trade with Ruby and Sapphire. They're pushing you to complete this new expanded dex. But at the time these games came out, Emerald did not exist.
don't leave me here.
This is a problem, because I've already covered almost every Johto Pokemon you can get in the first 4 mainline Gen 3 games. So, what were you supposed to do to get the others? Let's consult my Fire Red and Leaf Green guidebook, specifically the section on completing the National Pokedex. Oh, what's this? Trading.
What? That's such a big book. That's so many words. Is that Pokemon Colosseum? The only Pokemon game I played? Woo! Yeah, baby!
With Pokemon Colosseum's story mode. Players who've explored Ore in Pokemon Colosseum know that you cannot catch wild Pokemon in the region.
That's right. The only way to catch Pokemon in Pokemon Colosseum in our region is to catch Shadow Pokemon with a snag machine, which is literally stealing!
You can only snag 48 tainted Pokemon from crooks.
Yep.
Many of them are exclusive to the Ore region, so the only way to get them into Kanto is to trade with the Nintendo GameCube game. That's right. For a period of time in Gen 3, there were dozens of Pokemon exclusive to Pokemon Colosseum, a spin-off game for the Nintendo GameCube where you steal shadow Pokemon from opposing trainers.
Can we play a clip of my Pokemon Colosseum Nuzlocke video?
This meant that a bunch of Johto Pokemon required not only a different game, but an entirely different console. And on that game, you had to snag the shadow Pokemon by stealing them from other trainers, then spend time purifying them by using them in battle, leaving them in the daycare, giving them cologne massages, etc., and beat the main story to allow for trading with the
which was really hard, by the way.
Some Pokemon are really early, but others like Shuckle are super late. Additionally, some Pokemon like Mareep or Pineco required you to trade their formerly Shadow evolved forms.
Did you know that I completed the Pokemon Colosseum Nuzlocke with only 2 Pokemon left? Or 1. I don't know how much it was, I can't remember, it was like a month ago.
Over to a handheld game and then breed them there, since breeding does not exist in Ore. During this period where there was Fire Red and Leaf Green but not Emerald, all the Pokemon exclusive to Colosseum would absolutely be in a higher difficulty rank. But that period did end, and also, it was shorter than I thought it was. In the US, Fire Red and Leaf Green came out in September of 2004, but then Emerald came out in May of 2005, less than a year later. It felt so much longer when I was a kid. But with the arrival of Emerald, a bunch of Johto Pokemon were made locally available on the Gen 3 handheld games for the very first time. Most of them were added in the Safari Zone expansion.
I don't even know what this video is about anymore.
Unlocked after becoming champion. These 2 new areas, bringing the zone's total to 6, were
Why are you talking about Magic Man? I don't know.
There were some that were already in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but Hoot Hoot, Mareep, Apom, Sunkern, Gligar, Snubbull, Stantler, Pineco, Teddiursa, Houndour, Miltank, and Shuckle were all added, making it so Emerald's Safari Zone is the only place you can get them on the Gen 3 handheld games. But then there were actually...
Okay, so every Pokemon game generation has a region, and that region shares Pokemon. Is that what I'm understanding right now? So the Ore region would have Ore region Pokemon, and so on and so forth.
2 more wild Johto Pokemon.
And there would be multiple games in that region that shared that Pokemon pool.
added in Emerald though, just in a different place. The first is Smeargle, which oddly got its own dedicated place, that being Artisan Cave in the Battle Frontier, which spawns Smeargle and no other Pokemon. I guess they just wanted a place for you to like have easy access to a bunch of Smeargle in case you wanted to sketch something, but something goes wrong. I don't know, it feels kind of weird to be so dedicated to Smeargle here. There is a second Battle Frontier Johto Pokemon, but I've put it a level above, in rank 4, post-game medium. Post-game obtained, but there's some measure of difficulty in regards to getting it beyond most Pokemon. The first is Sudowoodo. Like in Johto,
I've never realized that certain Pokemon would be locked to like after you complete the story.
Oh, there is a strange tree in the overworld, this one on the southern edge of the Battle Frontier. You simply water it and battle it and hopefully catch it. I moved it up to rank 4 because unlike all the rank 3 Pokemon, there's only one. If you fail to catch it, it will not respawn. So if you forget to save before you KO it, you lose Sudowoodo in all 5 Gen 3 handheld games. Assuming 1 save file per cartridge, there's 1 Sudowoodo.
Wait. So multiple generations of Pokemon games share the same What? I don't understand!
All of Gen 3. Well, there's also the Shadow one in Coliseum as a backup. But like, just the handhelds. 1 Sudowoodo. Next is Hitmontop. There is a Shadow one in Coliseum, but if only using the mainline games, you have to first breed a Tyrogue from Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee, then level up that Tyrogue to level 20, and hope that you got its attack and defense stats exactly equal. Seriously.
Wow.
Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are easy. Attack higher, Hitmonlee. Defense higher, Hitmonchan. But getting them exactly equal can be really tricky and require multiple tries. You'll definitely have to shell out for some vitamins or do some actual EV training if either stat is affected by the
answer to all our problems.
It's not completely insane, but it's definitely a more involved process than most evolutions. And finally for rank 4 are Umbreon and Espeon.
Yeah!
These are friendship evolutions that I mentioned
My psychic kitties.
They're up in this higher difficulty rank because very stupidly, you cannot evolve an Eevee into Umbreon and Espeon in the same game that you get Eevee. Espeon and Umbreon are both friendship evolutions, but with
I have no idea what friendship evolution even means. Also, how do you like choose which version Eevee evolves into? Is it random?
Distinct difference from others like
I like that.
and Blissey. The time of
I want the pink one with the ribbons. Not Eevee, not Espeon, but like I don't know what it's called.
Matters. If the final level up occurs during the day, you get Espeon, and at night you get Umbreon. In Gen 2, Gold, Silver, and Crystal had a day and night cycle, so this functioned logically and straightforwardly. But then Gen 3 got weird and dumb. Fire Red and Leaf Green, where Eevee is obtained, not only don't have a day and night cycle, but they don't have a time system at all. But then Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald do.
Eevee, so cute.
You just can't see it most of the time. The clock you set at the beginning of the game triggers time-based events, like berry growing, daily lotto tickets, and Shoal Cave. This system is also what allows for the evolution of Eevee into Espeon and Umbreon. So if you want both Espeon and Umbreon in Gen 3, you have to get the 1 Eevee in the entire game at Celadon City, become champion, get the National Pokedex and the Rainbow Pass, breed at least 1 more Eevee at the 4 Island Daycare, unlock the ability to trade with the Hoenn Games, which does not happen once you have the National Dex. There's that side quest with Team Rocket that you have to go through, trade both Eevees to Hoenn, then raise their friendship there, and then level them up at the right time of day. This was the dumbest way to do what should have been straightforward evolutions. Like, why wasn't time just simply a thing in Fire Red and Leaf Green? Like, the technology was there. It's in older games in the same generation. Why didn't you just let me set a clock in Fire Red and Leaf Green? I know how, I promise. Also, they should have just given you an Eevee in Emerald's post-game. Come on. It is
the thing is, in my Pokemon Coliseum Nuzlocke, you're given Umbreon and Espeon.
Easier to just get Espeon and Umbreon from the GameCube games. Obviously, using a whole other game and system adds difficulty, but Espeon and Umbreon are the starter Pokemon in Colosseum, which is very cool. And while you do still have to complete the main story to trade with the handhelds, because they're not shadow Pokemon, you don't have to worry about purifying them in order to trade them. You can also get them from XD, Colosseum's sequel, since you start the game.
We're considering doing a sequel to the Pokemon Nuzlocke if it does well. We're probably going to do Gale of Darkness
with an Eevee, but you pick one of the 5 evolutions to evolve it into, and thus could get only
5. Wait! Whoa! Hey, I know this one.
One of the 5 evolutions to evolve.
Where's the pink one with the ribbons? Blasphemy! Objection, Your Honor!
This could get only one or the other. Fun fact, XD is the only game with traditional battle mechanics where you can evolve an Eevee into an Umbreon or Espeon without raising their friendship. You instead have to have a Sun Shard or a Moon Shard in your bag. Friendship evolutions do exist in XD, but the time of day does not. So this was an interesting workaround. I would prefer, personally, that they just did what they did
doing it, it's creepy!
Just make them Sun and Moonstone.
Alright, so who are these? There's an ice one, there's a leaf one. Bro, what the frick is happening?
Evolutions.
How many evolutions does Eevee have?
That'd be so much easier than friendship. Very important, but a lot of work. And with the Johto evolutions finished, we've now reached rank 5, post-game hard. These Pokemon are exceptionally difficult to get in the Gen 3 handheld games, to the point of debatable cruelty. These Pokemon, and those that come after them, are what really make Johto Pokemon in Gen 3 almost totally out of reach. First, the legendary beasts, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. They are actually found in Fire Red and Leaf Green, roaming Kanto after the player has completed the Sevi Islands quest and unlocked the ability to trade with
walking in a field and you run into a lightning tiger. What in the Elden Ring is this?
With Ruby and Sapphire. They're more work to unlock than the other Gen 3 roamers, Latios and Latias.
The Pokemon world is actually kind of horrifying.
Once you get them going, they're pretty straightforward roaming Pokemon, right? No, they're so much worse. First off, you only get one of them. Why? All 3 were in Johto. That's right next door. The beast that appears depends on your starter choice at the very beginning of the game. And it's the
Squirtle is ripped! No, that's not ripped, that's his shell. I'm done.
Strong against your starter. Raikou for Squirtle.
What is the best starter out of those 3? Hang on.
Beginning of
I like neither of these Pokemon, so I'll choose the air.
The game. And it's the one strong against your starter. Raikou for Squirtle, Entei for Bulbasaur, and Suicune for Charmander. Now this situation can be somewhat likened to trying to get all 3 starters in one save file. Most of the time, you and a friend who picked a different starter will each breed a baby and then send that over to the other person. This can be done—
Is anyone else weirded out that breeding is in the game? No? Just me? Oh, okay.
As soon as you have access to the daycare, and maybe ditto if your starter is male. You can also get all 3 starters in one file really quickly if you have a second cartridge that you're willing to
Is that a gun?
Since you can pick one,
no, it's
trade,
a wireless adapter.
Reset,
oh,
pick
okay.
Another, trade. But you can't breed the beasts, they're legendary Pokemon, and you can't do the sacrificial save file thing because they're extremely late game. So to register all 3, you need 2 friends who chose different starters and can trade back with you. If you want to own all 3, you have to beat Fire Red or Leaf Green, including their post-game quest, 3 full times in order to catch all 3. That is, assuming you can catch them at all. Because for 2 of them, you might lose them forever without KOing them. You likely know that if you KO a roaming legendary back in the day, you must immediately reset your game or lose it permanently. But in Gen 3, there was another problem. If the wild
because there's only one legendary. I get it. There is only one legendary Pokemon, right? Because there are certain Pokemon that don't have like copies of themselves.
To end the battle, they're gone permanently without having fainted. They only have the chance to do this if they're trapped, but if they do so and you check your Pokedex to see where it went, the Pokedex will show their location as area unknown, because the game treats Roar in a wild battle the same as KOing the wild Pokemon. This does only apply to Raikou and Entei, since at least Suicune doesn't know Roar, and of course using your Master Ball avoids this problem entirely. But even so, this is catastrophic. How many people lost their Raikou and Entei because they saved after it fled and didn't realize that it was actually gone forever? Oh, and one more bit of salt in the wound. All roaming Pokemon that you catch in Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, and Leaf Green suck. There was another glitch that made it so their IVs were always garbage. HP behaved normally, ranging from 0 to 31, but attack maxed at 7, and all the others were set to 0, as low as possible. All that work for crap Pokemon! Except in Emerald. They did fix it in Emerald. For the 3 legendary beasts, the GameCube is much easier. Not easy, of course, but like, not stupid awful. That's because you can get all 3 in one save file. Throughout the main story of Coliseum.
I get so happy seeing something I understand like Pokemon Coliseum, which is the only Pokemon game I've ever played.
Major boss battles against Cypher admins Dakeem, Venus, and Employer Identification Number, each of which have 1 Shadow legendary beast.
Whoa, hey, what?
Identification. Major boss battles against Cypher admins Dakeem, Venus, and Employer Identification Number.
Okay.
Each of which have 1 Shadow legendary beast. These battles are often tricky, but snagging the Shadow Beasts, purifying them, using them on your team, then trading them to the handhelds later is a significantly more straightforward process.
I thought the battles were kind of easy, gotta be honest, and I was doing the Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Than getting them in the Kanto games. It'll just
Also, I'm really mad that you can't catch like a Ralts or Gardevoir in Pokemon Coliseum. Why? That's like one of my top Pokemons to catch are Meloetta, Ralts, Eevee to get the pink ribbon Eevee, and like Pichu? Like, come on, man.
More expensive. The next and final group of Pokemon in rank 5 are, you guessed it, the Johto starters. They actually have 3 methods of obtaining them, and I'll start with the easiest, that being Coliseum. Yeah, Coliseum's the easiest one.
Oh no! Because Coliseum is really difficult.
Early in the story, you have to choose one of 3 Cypher peons to battle, each with a Shadow
Spoink!
Stage starter. Bayleaf.
Did you know if Spoink stops jumping, it dies? I'm not making that up. I learned that. Same thing with if Charmander's flame on his tail goes out, he also dies. Why can't I play the video?
Lava or Croconaw. You can only get 1 at the time, but later on you can snag the other 2. Like before, once you beat the main story and purify them, you can trade them to a handheld game and breed their pre-evolutions. The second way is in Pokemon XD. Mount Battle is a location in Ore that offers trainer battles and allows you to train your team and earn Poke Coupons. It has 100 total trainers starting out under level 10 and finishing up at level 70.
I was at Mount Battle until the 57th trainer, cause I thought it was mandatory. I was there for so long, then I realized this is optional. Huh? Why didn't you say so?
By defeating all 100 trainers, you get to choose one of the base form Johto starters as a reward. If you do so more than once, you can end up with all 3. But there is quite a huge catch. Stopping by to do some battles to train, then moving on with your adventure, coming back and beating the whole thing does not count. You only get the Johto starter if you run through the entire thing in one go without changing your team at all.
Why?
That means to get all 3 starters, you must do 300 battles, most of which will be mind-numbingly boring because you'll need a high-level team to beat the final boss, and the challenge starts at level 9. It's also frustrating because this is just not communicated to the player in-game. I remember playing XD and like finishing Mount Battle during the main story and then not getting the Johto starter, and I was like, what? Why? And then I looked up, Why? And then got mad and never did it. But even doing 300 battles, I don't believe is the hardest method of getting all of the Johto starters in Gen 3.
For reference, I did all 57 battles in one setting until I realized that, like, bro, I think I'm generally losing my mind here. Then I realized, oh, I can just leave.
Last one, the only way to get them in the handheld games is the toughest. The starters are only available in Emerald, and they're given to you as a simple gift from Professor Birch in Little Root Town.
Professor Birch.
However, you only get one, and only after completing the entire Hoenn Pokédex. Yeah! Registering 200 Pokemon, including all the legends, gets you one starter? That's insane! Doing the 300 battles in XD at least gave you all 3 in one game. Assuming no access to the GameCube games at all, this means to get all 3 starters in Emerald, you need 2 other friends to have also completed the entire
Bro, I love the Pokemon. Whoever is like on the design team for Pokemon, bro, you're killing it. The Pokemon designs of like the characters and the Pokemon are really cool. Except for like the muscular Pokemon, like, don't do that. That's kind of creepy.
And then they have to choose the specific starters that you do not. Or if you're on your own, that means you have to have 3 Emerald save files and complete the Hoenn Pokédex 3 times. And without a GameCube, this is the only way to get them in Gen 3. It's outrageous. For all the rank 5 Pokemon, it's clear that the Shadow ones from Colosseum are by far the best method of obtaining them. But if you don't own a GameCube, you're in for a bad time. But at least they're still possible. That cannot be said for the Pokemon in the final rank. Rank 6, GameCube or event, exclusive. First is Lugia. You simply cannot get it directly in the handheld games today. There were event distributions for both Lugia itself and the Mystic Ticket, an item that allows the player to go catch one at the secret island Naval Rock. More on that in my Pokemon's Lost Islands video. But these events are long gone. The only way to get a Lugia in Gen 3 today is from Pokemon XD. This frankly badass Shadow Lugia is the box art mascot of the game, and you can battle and snag it during the climax of the story. Purifying it is not like the others though. To do so, you must use the Purification Chamber, which only exists in XD, not Colosseum. And it involves making these type-advantaged squares to maximize the tempo. Once you have all the chambers maxed out, you can put Lugia in and purify it instantly, reverting it to its original appearance.
I gotta do geometry to play Pokemon?
Lugia's counterpart Ho-Oh is similar, but different in many ways and is drastically more difficult. Like Lugia, there were events to receive it directly, or the Mystic Ticket to go find one at Naval Rock, but those are over. Today, Ho-Oh is only found in the other Ore game, Colosseum. But it is so much more work. Step 1, beat the game. Step 2, snag and purify all 48 Shadow Pokemon. That takes ages. There's no passive purification chamber in Colosseum.
Yeah, you gotta
put all these Pokemon into your party individually, except for the only other passive way, which is just leave them in the daycare, which is not free. You could run out of money, and then you're not even done. Remember the Mount Battle thing for the Johto starters in XD?
Uh-huh.
You kind of got to do the same thing in Colosseum.
No.
Colosseum has a Mount Battle story mode, but it also has a battle mode with a dedicated Mount Battle challenge there.
Yeah, I've never done battle mode.
You must register a team from your story mode, then beat all 100 trainers in either single or double battles. In one way, this is harder than XD, but in another, it's easier. It's harder because the trainers follow the open level format. They match the level of the highest in your party. However, I should note they do have 0 EVs and IVs. And then it's easier than XD because every time you win without a Pokemon fainting, which will happen a lot early on, you earn a free continue. I'm pretty sure that in XD, if you have a single loss, you have to start over. Once you finish the challenge, Ho-Oh will be deposited into your story mode PC. You can then trade it to the handhelds. But seriously, do not do this until you've purified all the Shadow Pokemon. I'm like 99% sure if you finish the Mount Battle challenge without all of them snagged and purified, then you don't get Ho-Oh and you have to start over. And that would really suck. And then finally is, of course, Celebi. Celebi is mythical, and thus it's par for the course that getting it is almost—
You can catch Celebi? My favorite Pokemon by far, Hatsune Miku, Meloetta. I freaking love Meloetta.
or completely impossible most of the time. It had several distributions throughout Gen 3, but those are long gone, so the only way to get it today is the Japanese Coliseum bonus disc. In the USA, pre-ordering Pokemon Coliseum got you this bonus disc, which can dispense Jirachi to copies of Ruby and Sapphire. Meanwhile, Japan's bonus disc dispensed Celebi, which does actually make more sense since you use time flutes to summon Celebi and purify Pokemon.
Yeah, I thought I could catch Celebi when I played Pokemon Coliseum.
Jirachi, Celebi requires you to have purified all 48 Shadow Pokemon before it will send one to your story mode save file. Also, everything you use has to be Japanese, which is pretty tough for those of us in America. Although, apparently, I believe I read this correctly, you can dispense one Celebi per purified Pokemon, which is 48. So that's a lot of freaking Celebis. I guess they were just expecting like a few people to be just like the Celebi distributors. And now that I've covered the GameCube/event exclusive legends, you now know how to get every Johto Pokemon in the Gen 3 games.
Oh my god.
I've never gotten all of them myself, and I probably never will, but maybe I'll at least shoot for Ho-Oh someday. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another video of mine going through the insane hoops we had to jump through to get Pokemon back in the day, check out my video on why getting Regigigas in Gen 4 was freaking ridiculous.
Alright, let me know if you'd like me to watch that video next. However, right now, I want to say a few things. What did I just watch? I couldn't understand a goddamn thing. Holy crap, why is this so complicated? Alright, you guys got some explaining to do in the comments, cause I need to read so much to understand this video. I've never had to do research to react to a video, but I'm gonna rewatch my own video and look at the comments, and hopefully people will explain to me. What? Like, what? I'm so confused. But I suppose I'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Hi. If you like this video, then please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We also stream every Friday on Twitch at twitch.tv/themastersky. Or if you really love me, wink wink, then come support us on Patreon at patreon.com/mastersky to stay up to date with all of our new projects. And we also have a Discord server. We're looking for new members, so come say hey. Looking forward to seeing you there. Bye bye.